and welcome back. Today we are looking at our review of the Huawei Nova 7 SE. Got it right here. It's all set up and I'm ready to take us through some of the paces of the phone. But first we're going to talk about the specs of the phone. This is a gorgeous 6.5 inch IPS LCD. Comes in at 1080p Full HD screen. Now you can see it's super vibrant. I love what that wallpaper does. We're going to go through a quick look at the specs. Of course you can check it out on your local website. I personally use GSM Arena a lot. So let's take a good look at it. What do we have? We have a 4000 mAh battery inside this thing. It is pretty thin for 4000 mAh. Feels a lot like my Poco F1 that I used for a good part of last year. And it's got that 1, 2, 3, 4 camera lens there, and the flash is right there. Okay, so what we got here is Android 10 built in. It has Android 10 with EMUI 10.1.1. Recently got updated with GPU Turbo. It runs on a Kirin 820 processor, system on chip. It comes with a whopping 8 GB of RAM and a nice big fat total of 128 GB of storage. As you can see, the resolution there is 1080. So that's the internals. The screen, like I said, is 6.5 inch 1080p, and it's an IPS, so when you lock it you don't really have any always on display, unfortunately. Now as I can see as well, that was the fingerprint unlock. It also has HDR10 content. Now unfortunately I couldn't install YouTube on this thing because it doesn't have Google Play services, but I guess it's offset by the fact that this is a 5G phone. You could pop in a 5G SIM card and you would get 5G. Now I'm not sure if it's the high band or the low band, the millimeter wave or that other thing, but I didn't pop in my SIM card. My SIM card's not a 5G, it's a 4G. So you get you are future proof in that sense that you could put in a 5G SIM card. The Kirin 820 comes with the 5G modem. Alright, so looking at quick look at the processors, we've got it's a octa-core, 8 cores. You've got 2.36 GHz A76. You've got 2.2 GHz Cortex A76 and 1.84 GHz. And the GPU is a Mali G57 6-core graphics processor. Okay, so that's all the regular stuff out of the way. What about the cameras? We have got 64 megapixels main camera right here. You've got the 8 megapixel ultra wide, which I quite like. We have a 2.4 megapixel macro and a 2 megapixel depth camera, and all that is on the back. The front only sports a 16 megapixel ultra wide. You can see it in the little punch hole up there, and it can record videos up to 1080p. Okay, so let's take the camera for a quick spin. Alright, I've got some stuffs here that we can do a little quick check on the camera. So there you go, that's the camera right there. Now you've got the typical Huawei times zoom, whether you want it at 1 time, 2 time. So you've got 1 time, you can go to wide that way. So you see you can take in so much more with a wide angle. We can go up to try and trigger the macro here. So that's a 10 times zoom, and it is pretty accurate. Let me try to get in some macro action here. Macro is one of those things that I really like. nowadays. So we've got aperture, moving picture stickers, super macro. Here we go. So that's a super macro, and it says optimal shooting distance is 4 centimeters. I'm trying to get a good angle here. This is some good detail right here. You can get up to 4 cm close, and it's pretty good. There you go. I'm gonna take that picture, show it to you guys. All right, and that's there. Oh, I'm getting all caught up here. Okay, so you can see the detail in that is pretty good. I can even see the words up there. You can see that. You can see the words in that address. Alright, so that's pretty cool. And of course, you get the obligatory watermark down there to tell you which phone you're shooting with. Okay, so what else we got in here? Besides those, we got portrait mode, we've got a night mode, we've got AR lens, which I'm gonna try and test it out. Unfortunately, I need a face to point at it. Let's see if I can get my face in it. Oh, sorry, it's got a face. So we'll save that for another day. Okay, so that's AR lens, night mode, portrait mode, photo, video. Let's have a look at the more again. So in the more, we got super macro, we got aperture. You can set it to aperture, which will blur the background even more. Okay, so you've got f4.0. You can see it gets clearer, and it'll blur the background behind it. This will be better, a lot better with the panorama. Okay, that's the cameras. I'll talk about price for all these cameras later on, and before that, let's talk about the app gallery. Now, I've talked about app gallery in my Huawei MatePad Pro review. The app gallery is similar to Google Play. It has a lot of stuff that we Malaysians would use in our day-to-day lives. You have all your typical apps like Maybank, Shopee, TikTok. The current trend with the pandemic, we have My Sejahtera, which you have to update if you want to redeem that $50 from the government, 50 ringgit from the government. I'm redeeming mine through Grab, because I use Grab a lot to buy food and things like that. So now this thing comes with a lot of things like it checks your updates, does installation manager. It's trying to be a Huawei branded type of Google store. Well, we'll let time see if that actually gets us where we want to go. I've also installed something called APK Pure to get me additional apps that can't be got through the Huawei mobile app store. This one has a little bit more apps. I managed to find Netflix on it. I managed to get it to work without much difficulty using APK Pure. I've also got Facebook, and the rest is all covered by Huawei apps itself. Okay, so that's all the stuff. We've got it charges with a USB C, and it has a one single speaker, and what's great is a 3.5mm jack. I really love that thing. Even if I don't use it much, it just gives me that sense, that safety, that I don't need to charge my Bluetooth so that I can use a headphones. It's just an additional thing to charge, right? So moving on, it doesn't support wireless charging, so that 4000 mAh you're gonna have to plug in a USB-C charger. It weighs about 189 grams according to GSM Arena. I don't have a scale to weigh it, but yeah, it does weigh almost as much as my Poco. It is pretty handy in the hand. I like holding this. It does have a lot of fingerprints. You can see it's getting a lot of fingerprints on it. It comes with a case in the box, a typical plastic case you can use until you get your own. Okay, so I like that side fingerprint reader. Let me just show you how fast it works. You're gonna lock it, and then I just rest my finger and it turns on, right? So there you go. That's it right there. And you can see that the wallpaper is just really lovely. If you can see, I'm going to try and focus in on that. If you have a look, I'm going to try and zoom in a little bit. So if you see, I press that, look at that move. Isn't that wonderful? I think that's just a great thing to see. Okay, so I'm just gonna pause right here. Alright guys, so just two more things to test. I just want to test out the speaker for you. I want to play out a video from YouTube, and just to show you how loud this single speaker can get, I'm just gonna play like 5-7 seconds of it. Here you go guys. So as you can hear, it gets pretty loud even though it's one single speaker. The sound is pretty, I would say pretty punchy. I didn't get to hear much bass in it. It is a single speaker and it is downward firing, so you can tend to press it, close it up if you are playing games, or if you play games this way, it doesn't really block it. So actually that's a pretty good placement for it. Other than that, picture wise, we've gone through the cameras, the speakers, and that side fingerprint is pretty fast, except that if they had something with a little bit of, I could pull down the notification shade, that would be really great. It charges up pretty fast, and it's fairly decent. Now let me get to the last point, and that's price. Now I did a quick search on Shopee. You can get this phone 1001 to 1002 ringgit, 1200 ringgit, which is pretty decent for a 128GB 8GB RAM phone with a large 6.5-inch screen. And this is a very vibrant screen. I don't know what it looks like in sunlight, but it looks like it gets pretty high up there. If you check it against my Pixel, I'm gonna crank it up. So the Pixel is a OLED screen, and this is an LCD screen. So there is some difference in blacks, but I have to say overall, this phone, the Nova 7 SE, is pretty good price for 1,100 ringgit to 1,200 ringgit on Shopee if you can search around for it. Now I think if you go to the shops, it might be up to 1,300 ringgit, but you'll get some freebies. Try to get some freebies thrown in as well. Okay, so that wraps up my review of this phone. Whether or not I recommend you get it, it is purely up to the fact whether do you want Google services. I'm a pretty heavy Google user. I use a lot of Google services. I find that it is about 80-85% livable without Google services, because I can get some stuff on the Huawei App Gallery, on APK Pure, but I can't live without some things. I use Google Keep, I use YouTube, I use a lot of Google service, Gmail, all that kind of stuff. So it's hard for me to recommend this to people who are reliant on those services. Alright, so that's it. It wraps up Geekerbytes tour of the Huawei Nova 7 SE. I'm glad you stopped by. It's going to be a slightly shorter video this time, and I will see you on the next one. If you like this video, I hope that you can subscribe, click the subscribe button, and maybe give us a like. Follow us on our blog, geekerbytes.wordpress.com. I promise I'll get a better one. And that's it from us. Cheers. Bye.